All right, I want to be careful and preface this because I know somebody's going to think, wow, this is just coming from a very, very angry place or disposition. But honestly, it's coming more from a position of being utter bewilderment of how sad and bizarre the Mauler cult has kind of mutated to and where it's going. So, a little context. I was going to do something on TLJ Critique Part 3 for a while, but I had to attend to other videos, and then, life things got in the way, etc., etc. So, it's not a conspiracy that I was waiting for Mauler to sort of upload the perfect way to destroy himself. But it is a fact that he just uploaded a couple of hours ago his video for The Force Awakens, not TLJ, which he had been working on for a couple years. Yeah, that's right, a couple years. And I'm not gonna mince words. It's a pretty pathetic, bad set of, interpretive moves, stealing a ton of Disney music, Disney clips, Star Wars clips, etc., etc. It's basically the same old spiel, but at the end of it, and it got pretty bad in terms of at least trying to address some logical problems that he's faced, that he gets into this full swing, which we're going to get to. But first I want to set up what he actually tries to do in TLJ Part 3, because he really stops discussing the film. And despite allegedly saying he's not going to get into the politics of it, he gets into the politics of TLJ itself as a film and as a product and a mass marketed product for children. And he gets into this whole rant against Rian Johnson for introducing commercial values into the Star Wars universe, and he gives a prime example of the porgs and other evils that Rian Johnson is responsible for. Now, even when I liked him, that seemed really bizarre because in Part 2, he actually goes against Rian Johnson for allegedly putting in a pro-communist, anti-capitalist message, and he's trying to vindicate that through Canto Bight, and Canto Bight is really just this propaganda video for a bunch of leftist values. And now in Part 3, he's saying the complete opposite, that actually he's insidiously trying to sell a lot of toys to the children and implant them with a lot of capitalist values. So 1 and 2 don't make sense together. But again, I liked him, so I figured, well, maybe he just made a couple of big mistakes and didn't think through the editing. But it really does not make at all any sense to say that Rian Johnson is simultaneously over-commercializing Disney and the Star Wars universe and simultaneously claim he's also like this left-wing propagandist, communist extremist trying to force down leftism through Canto Bight. Like that's not literally possible. That's a logical contradiction. But that's what he says. And now we get back to the TFA video where I swear to God, you can look for it yourself, though I don't want you to because I don't want to increase any more money he's getting. He devotes entire minutes. None of this has to do with The Force Awakens, by the way. He gets into his own video about the commercial products you can pay for bearing his likeness and goes through the very many merchandise now available on his website and where you can find it. And again, to some degree, as a YouTuber, that's a necessity. But we're not just talking about t-shirts. He literally has a part of it where he says, and by the way, you can now even get Mauler pillows. That's right, Mauler pillows. So he's saying, 1, Rian Johnson, evil capitalist, is trying to sell porgs. Number 2, Rian Johnson, evil communist, is trying to implant anti-capitalism to the children. And now number 3, Mr. Impartiality, super objective critic Mauler, Callum, has a pillow he wants to sell to you. And the basic problem with Star Wars, according to him, from the TLJ videos, is Disney has ruthlessly commercialized our beautiful Star Wars universe, comrades. But I, the brave, objective critic from Wales, has exposed their evil capitalist/anti-capitalist conspiracy. And you can help him out by giving him money directly and or buy his pillows. And I am not joking. I am not being ironic. He actually says, and by the way, the EFAP merchandise is on its way. So I'm not going to look at this even as a set of arguments because they're so pathetically bad and stupid and self-refuting that you're like, What are you talking about? None of this makes any sense. So at the cognitive level, it's zero. There's nothing there. There's nothing to refute. But from a sociological level, I think this is really what's disturbing about the whole thing, because it's not really anger, I feel, but more for people who still believe this stuff, just sadness. I mean, I understand from his angle, he still has to pretend I'm Mr. Objective Critic, even while he's literally saying, I have a commercial bias and self-interest in selling you hatred. So simultaneously, I am giving you an objective critique, which I'm going to sell to you directly or indirectly, and I'm encouraging you to invest in my hatred. Now, by definition, that doesn't make sense. If you're objective, you have no personal or financial interest in X. And here he's actually admitting, even promoting that very self-interest and proving he's not an impartial objective critic. And already, a lot of his fans are applauding him for the amount of time and effort and the bravery and honesty and objectivity of his criticism. And they're already launching preemptive strikes against any possible critic, saying these people are already downvoting. How could they possibly doubt his sincerity or honesty or his integrity or the lack of cohesion in his arguments? I mean, just look at his TLJ videos. I mean, he said simultaneously he found out Rian Johnson was a communist capitalist trying to destroy us. And you're like, what argument would I be going up against? What logic am I trying to challenge? It just seems so beyond crazy and stupid. It's like, I know he knows how to use language and knows how to use words. And he uses these words a lot, like logic and objectivity and blah, blah, blah. But they don't mean anything. When he puts them together, they just don't mean anything. They're just a set of rhetorical devices he uses to make money, which is his prerogative. And that's fine. He wants to make money from hatred and just pumping the fan audiences full of hatred and venom and just a dash of neo-fascism. As an evil, greedy corporation, Mauler is free to do that. What he's not free to do, however, is call what he's doing a critique. There's nothing critique about this. There's nothing about this that has to do with criticism or film criticism or appreciation of cinema or film analysis. What does selling your pillows have to do with objective film criticism, objective media criticism? It doesn't make any sense at all. It's really just a very cynical attempt to pump more money from people already paying him literally $1,000 a month or more. And on top of this, he's already monetizing the videos, which are hours long. So you could get a situation where you're literally watching an ad by him, cut to an ad by another corporation paying him, cut back to another ad of him selling himself, then cut back to another ad of another corporation selling stuff which he's going to get some money from. And simultaneously, he's angry and vilifying Rian Johnson for introducing that evil, greedy capitalist values into Star Wars in the year of 2017. Now, maybe you think that buying a pillow by Mauler will in fact stop the apocalypse that Rian Johnson has created, and that his pillow will magically stop the Antichrist, Rian Johnson? And if you're free to believe that, if you believe it, I just don't think it's true. Alright, this has been Star Wars Analyzed on Mauler's curious self-refuting criticism of Rian Johnson / Disney commercialization of the Star Wars universe. Alright, Star Wars Analyzed. If you like the content, please hit the like button and or subscribe. Thank you for listening. Please be safe.